My last crochet etiquette video made people mad because they said I was speaking from the perspective of a designer, and that was true. So today I'm fully speaking as a maker because, like I said in that video, I'm a maker and I'm a designer. Designers, I love you. I buy patterns, I support indie designers, I hype up crochet releases just like everybody else. But as a maker, y'all gotta stop doing some of these things because it's making the crochet and knitting community frustrating for no reason. Now, my goal is not to drag anybody or start any drama. My goal is to make this community better, more organized, more accessible, and honestly, more enjoyable for everyone in the fiber art space. Quick reminder, when I say etiquette, I'm not talking about what holds up in a court of law. I'm not speaking legal language. I'm literally talking about what's polite, what's respectful, and what helps crocheters and knitters have a good experience. So if you have suggestions on how we can all be more polite and create better patterns, absolutely drop that in the comments below. We can discuss that in a polite manner. But with that being said, let's talk about what pattern designers seriously need to stop doing now. Number 1, stop calling something beginner friendly when it's advanced. If a pattern requires specialty stitches, complicated shaping, or math that makes your eyes cross, it's not beginner friendly. And that's okay. There's absolutely nothing wrong with creating patterns for advanced crocheters or knitters, but labeling a pattern as beginner when it's not can be super discouraging. Ask me how I know. Beginners will try it, get frustrated, and feel like they're bad at this, which is the last thing we want to do. I get it. You may have been crocheting or knitting for decades at this point, and beginner patterns are a distant memory for you. You might even have forgotten what it's like to just start out, and that's okay. But as a designer, part of your responsibility is to accurately label your patterns. The easiest way to do that is to have a trusted friend, a fellow designer, or a tester go through the pattern and confirm the skill level before publishing. And if you're really not sure how to classify it, err on the side of caution. It's probably not beginner. Accurate labeling helps your buyer feel confident, helps reduce frustration, and build trust in your patterns. Beginners stay encouraged, advanced crafters stay happy, and your reputation as a designer stays solid. It's a win-win for everyone in the crochet and knitting community. Number 2, stop having 12 pages of nonsense before the actual pattern starts. When I open a pattern, I'm not planning to read a novel. I don't need the Dear Diary version of how the design came to life. That's beautiful for a blog post or a YouTube video, but the pattern file should be clean, clear, and straight to the point. Buyers are here for the instructions, not a memoir. I shouldn't have to scroll for a full minute just to get to row 1. Now I empathize because I am a long-witted girly myself. I love sharing how I came up with the design, why I chose a specific yarn, or the inspiration behind the stitch that I chose. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with sharing your story. The key is placement. Save the story for a blog post, a social media post, or a companion YouTube video, and keep the pattern file focused on the actual instructions. The problem comes when patterns are misleading. You might see a 15-page pattern, but if 10 of those pages are pictures and write-ups or a backstory, that can be really frustrating to buyers and make the pattern feel super overwhelming. The takeaway is to be brief, be intentional, and put the fun details where they belong, not mixed into the instructions. I say this with love. A well-structured, easy-to-follow pattern will keep your buyers happy, build trust in your design work, and ensure everyone, beginners and experienced makers alike, can enjoy creating without feeling lost. Number 3, stop never showing the back of the garment. Show the back of the sweater, show the sides, show the neckline, the hem, the cuffs. Every angle matters. People are spending real money on your digital pattern, and they want to know exactly what it'll look like when it's finished. We all know that pictures speak 1,000 words, and every side is not meant to be perfect, but hiding the backside like it doesn't exist just leaves the buyer guessing, and nobody wants that. I get it. This is usually unintentional. Most designers are just regular people who love crafting and want to share their creations. Modeling, photography, and marketing don't come naturally, and that's okay. You don't have to be a professional photographer to make your patterns look amazing. Here's what I do when I promote my designs on Etsy, Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. I take a minimum of 10 photos. I know that sounds like a lot, but hear me out. Start with these 3 essential shots. One natural photo, including your face if you're comfortable, a close-up of the stitch detail, and a clear shot of the back of the garment. That alone gives buyers confidence. Then get creative with the remaining photos. A hand on the hip pose is my go-to. I just can't get enough of it. I also love the headless shot. I think it looks a little bit high end and puts the focus on the work. And you can also try different angles, fun or awkward poses, a candid shot that just feels natural. A tip is to look at fashion magazines or online stores for inspiration. There's no shortage of ideas. And if you're camera shy, faceless photos work beautifully too. There's tons of YouTube tutorials and social media guides on how to take them. Once you're comfortable with photos, consider adding short videos. People love seeing how a garment drapes, how a blanket moves, or how a stitch stretches. Even a 10 to 15 second clip can make a huge difference in convincing buyers that your pattern is worth it. Remember, buyers are not expecting you to be a professional model. They just want clear, helpful visuals so they know exactly what they're getting. With a few extra photos and maybe a video, you'll make your pattern look professional, accessible, and irresistible. And your confidence will grow with each shoot. Number 4, stop skipping instructions. With the exception of obvious things like weaving in ends or seaming pieces together, please tell makers exactly what to do. Don't assume we're gonna magically figure it out. We didn't pay for a guessing game. A pattern is a blueprint. Think about it like IKEA. If they skipped 3 steps and said just use your intuition, everyone would lose it. And that's exactly how we feel when instructions are incomplete. This happens to me more than I'd like to admit, and I've noticed that a certain type of pattern like bags or purses are often the worst offenders. Attach the strap. How? Add an applique. Wait, where and how? These steps can feel obvious to the designer, but for a maker following your pattern, it's not. I get it, writing instructions is hard, but it doesn't have to be intimidating. If you use a public YouTube tutorial to attach the strap or complete a tricky technique, include that link in your pattern. Give your makers a reference and a little extra guidance. A few additional photos or short videos can go a long way in helping people complete your design successfully. There's a fine line between hand-holding and giving necessary guidance. You don't have to spell out every single stitch, but you do need to provide enough detail so that makers don't get frustrated, confused, or stuck. Patterns should empower people to create something beautiful, not leave them guessing and stressed. Clear, thoughtful instructions show that you care about your customers and their crafting experience, and that in turn will build trust and loyalty in your designs. Number 5, stop letting errors slide in your patterns. As soon as you're notified or you yourself notice that something is wrong in your pattern, don't just shrug it off and see who notices next. The kindest, most professional thing you can do is pause sales immediately, fix the issue, restart the sales, and provide past customers with an updated version. Yes, it's a task, and yes, it takes time, but it's absolutely worth it. It says so much about your integrity as a designer and the care you put into your work. This isn't something I see often, but in my last video, y'all shared some real horror stories about pattern mistakes, and honestly, that makes me feel for both the makers and the designers. Designers, if your pattern says double crochet and you meant half double crochet, don't treat it like a fun guessing game. Makers want to successfully recreate your design, and more importantly, they want it to look like the picture. Mistakes left uncorrected aren't just a minor inconvenience. They can frustrate makers, turn them away from patterns, and in some cases, even discourage people from continuing the craft entirely. And that's just not okay. Every pattern you release reflects your reputation, your attention to detail, and your commitment to your community. Taking the time to fix mistakes builds trust, ensures happy customers, and ultimately strengthens the crochet community for everyone. Know that even great designers make mistakes, but the best ones fix the mistakes. Number 6. Stop leaving makers stranded with discontinued yarns. We don't all have access to the exact yarn you used 3 years ago, and let's be real, yarn brands discontinue colors and lines all the time. It's frustrating for makers when the yarn called for in the pattern is no longer available. If your main yarn in your pattern is discontinued, please take the extra step to update your listing with 1 or 2 current alternatives. Even if it's not the exact same brand, helping us get close is a huge win. Makers are still likely to purchase your pattern if they feel confident about the yarn options. And please, for the love of God, don't just say any medium weight yarn will work. I say this often because it's so true. Not all weight 4 yarns are created equally. Fiber content, ply, texture, and drape vary widely, and these differences can dramatically affect the final garment or accessory. At the very least, provide the yarn weight, length per skein, and fiber content, and try your best to suggest accessible, widely available options. Doing this small amount of heavy lifting uplifting for your customers does not go unnoticed. It shows that you care about the maker's experience, that you're thoughtful and professional, and that you want your patterns to succeed in a real world, not just in theory. A little guidance goes a long way in building trust and loyalty in the crochet and knitting community. Okay, we're more than halfway through these tips, and I can't wait to see what y'all think in the comments. My last video on this topic brought over 700 new subscribers, and I met some of the nicest and most opinionated people I've ever encountered. My goodness. But that's part of the fun of this community, right? We share, we debate, and most importantly, we keep encouraging each other to be kind and supportive. If you're enjoying this video so far, give this video a thumbs up. I promise, every like, comment, and share makes a huge difference. It helps me know that you're enjoying this content and encourages me to keep creating helpful, honest, and fun videos for makers just like you. And don't forget, whether you're a crochet, knitter, pattern designer, or maker, your voice matters. Drop your thoughts in the comments as we go. I love seeing your perspective and hearing your experiences with patterns, designers, and making in general. As behind as I may get, I have a reminder in my phone to respond to comments every 4 days. Some of my favorite YouTubers do this. But please know, I'm responding, not arguing. If you don't want to fix the mistakes in your past patterns, that's perfectly fine. But thanks so much for watching the video, and let's hop into number 7. Number 7, stop creating new stitches without a video tutorial. If you invented a new stitch, that's awesome. Seriously, I love it when designers get creative. But here's the thing, we need to see how to do it. A written PDF description alone is usually not enough, especially for beginners or even intermediate makers. A quick 30 to 60 second video is often faster for you to make and 1,000 times better for us to understand. If you want people to actually use the stitch and not quit your pattern halfway through, showing the process visually is key. When it comes to pattern communication, words are great, pictures are better, but videos reign supreme. Written instructions work for some makers, but a video tutorial can save hours of frustration, prevent mistakes, and give makers the confidence to complete your pattern successfully. Trust me, your customers will thank you. Now, if you love getting emails from confused makers asking, where do I yarn over or where does my hook go, then sure, you could skip this part. But if you want to save yourself, your customers, and your community some headache, please add photos, or even better, a short video. It doesn't have to be fancy, just clear visual guidance that shows the stitch in action. Including tutorials like this not only helps makers complete your patterns, but also boost your credibility as a designer. It shows that you care about the experience of the person using your pattern and that you want them to succeed. And that kind of thoughtfulness always gets noticed in the crochet and knitting community. Number 8, stop claiming someone stole your very common pattern design. We need to stop acting like we invented everything. Crochet and knitting have been around for centuries. Most textures, shape, and stitch construction have been done before. If someone releases a mesh square tank top, that's not theft. It's a basic shape made of squares. And no, you did not invent a waffle stitch blanket or hexagon cardigan. Relax. As someone who's been attacked by a designer's fan base, let me tell you, that's not fun. Stealing designs is never okay, and in some cases, legal action may be necessary. But here's the reality, pattern writing is risky. Standing out in the industry is hard, and some people unintentionally or intentionally create something that looks similar to an existing design. But that doesn't always mean they stole it. One of my biggest pet peeves is when someone says, I taught myself to crochet, or I'm a self-taught knitter. I get what you mean, but let's be honest. YouTube tutorials, books, or guidance from an experienced maker were probably your real teachers, and that's okay. Learning from others is part of the journey. I empathize because I know how it feels. You pour your heart into writing a pattern, formatting it, photographing it, and checking for all the mistakes. It's easy to feel defensive if you see something slightly similar, but maybe, just maybe, you both had the same idea around the same time, or in some cases, yes, someone may have leaned a little bit too heavily on another person's work. Either way, bullying or public shaming is never the answer. Take a break if you need to. Step back, breathe, and come back refreshed. Focus on sharing your creativity in positive ways. The crochet and knitting community thrives when we lift each other up instead of tearing each other down. Your creativity matters, and so does fostering a supportive, inspiring space for everyone. Number 9. Stop hiding important information just to make a sale. Makers need key details up front so they can make an informed decision. Has the pattern been tested? Was it tech edited? How many sizes are included? What is the intended ease? Is it beginner friendly? How much yarn do I use? This kind of transparency matters. It helps people decide if your pattern is right for them before they spend their hard-earned money. The truth is, transparency builds trust. Trust leads to repeat customers, and repeat customers are everything for a designer's long-term success. I learned this lesson personally from my more opinionated subscribers in my last video on this topic. Someone said if a pattern isn't tested or tech edited, it shouldn't be sold. I respectfully disagree. It's okay to sell patterns that aren't formally tested or tech edited, but that is some information that you should always share upfront so that the maker can make an informed choice. For example, if you don't want people selling the finished product from your pattern, make that clear before they purchase. Some people may ignore that request, and that's okay, as long as you've communicated it clearly. If you don't offer refunds, tell them. Yes, it might seem obvious, but a customer who thinks your $2 digital download is actually a completed handmade cardigan might be surprised. Clear expectations prevent frustration on both sides. You won't always cover everything perfectly, and there will be makers who ignore instructions or requests. That's part of running a pattern business. But hiding important information just to make a sale isn't fair to your customers and can lead to confusion, complaints, and negative reviews. Be upfront, kind, and honest. Let people make their own choices. If someone gets upset because you requested your digital download not be shared, that's a red flag. Maybe they weren't a customer you wanted anyway. Missing a sale isn't the end of the world. Respect, trust, and a happy community are way more important. To make this easier, I added the following note to all my pattern listings. This pattern has been carefully written and checked by me, but it has not been officially pattern tested or tech edited. I've done my best to make it clear and easy to follow, but if you happen to find any errors or confusing parts, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to update or clarify anything to make your experience smooth and enjoyable. Feel free to use this or something similar if you're in the exact same boat. I know pattern testing and tech editing can be time-consuming and expensive and not always accessible. If you can't do it, that's totally fine. Just communicate upfront so no one's blindsided. Your customers will appreciate your honesty and transparency. Okay, the last tip where I typically ruffle some feathers in my videos. Number 10, stop feeling like you have to make money off of every single pattern. Not every pattern needs to have a fee. In fact, having some free patterns can be one of the smartest marketing moves you make as a designer. Free patterns give makers a chance to experience your writing style, your formatting, your photography, or even your personality before they commit to buying a pattern. Someone actually mentioned this in a previous video, and honestly, it really made me think. Free patterns aren't a loss, they're actually an investment in your audience. Free patterns get more shares, more attention, and they lead people to your paid patterns. Think of them as a way you hand out your business card to the crafting community. People might love your formatting, your checklist, your stitch explanations, or even your quirky poses, and that connection can translate into sales later. Let me be transparent and share my own experience. Since Etsy doesn't allow free digital downloads in the same way, all of my free patterns are live on my Ravelry. For example, my Thick and Quick coasters have 6 downloads. My crochet applique heart has 38 downloads. My fearless knit beanie has 77 downloads, and my aesthetic hanging chair has a whopping 566 downloads. Compare that to my highest selling pattern on Ravelry. The whole moon midi skirt only has 13 sales at a price point of $4.99. If you get stuck thinking I could have made all this money if I had charged a fee with those patterns, remember this: those free patterns wouldn't have had nearly as many downloads if they had a price tag. The exposure, the engagement, and the trust you build with free patterns can often lead to paid pattern sales down the line. If you're nervous about giving away your own original designs, start small. Share something simple like a granny square pattern. It's low risk and you'll learn a lot about marketing, pattern writing, photography, and audience engagement. Over time, free patterns can boost your credibility, increase your following, and make you a better, more confident designer. All in all, don't fear giving away free patterns. Done thoughtfully, they're not a loss. They're a way to grow your audience, strengthen your brand, and ultimately sell more paid patterns. That's all for me today. I know the drill. I share these tips, ruffle a few feathers, and then I go on my merry way. But remember, it's all coming from a place of love. If you want to check out some of my free patterns, start with one of my favorites, the Fearless Knit Beanie. It's a great way to get a feel for my writing style, my formatting, and just a little bit of my personality sprinkled in. And if you're a designer with thoughts on what customers should do, I most likely covered that perspective in my last video, so check that out right here. I hope these tips help both makers and designers create a better experience for everyone. Drop a comment below to share your thoughts or even your own pattern pet peeves. As always, happy crocheting, happy knitting, and happy creating, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!